It is my pleasure to introduce to you our Convocation speaker, Mr. Michael Bloom. Already got your honorary degree. Michael is a media and technology entrepreneur and executive and the president of First Look Media, a bold independent company launched by eBay founder and philanthropist Pierre Omidyar. First Look Media, or FLM, empowers the most ambitious voices in journalism, arts, and entertainment. Built on the belief that freedom of expression and independent perspectives are vital to a healthy democracy and a vibrant culture, FLM includes the award-winning investigative journalism property, The Intercept, the critically acclaimed documentary unit, Field of Vision, the popular political satire cartoon, The Nib, and a new entertainment studio, Topic, which features projects on WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, Hulk Hogan, the man who famously brought down Gawker Media, and the rediscovered cultural phenom, Richard Simmons. Mr. Bloom's career started at a propitious time when the web revolutionized news and entertainment. He first built StockPoint.com, one of the earliest commercial internet companies. In 1999, he launched iAmaze, an early cloud company that was acquired by AOL as part of that company's strategy to transform its messaging, email, and music services. He joined Viacom in 2004 to lead MTV Networks into the digital age, including a joint venture with the music download company Rhapsody. If you're familiar with this history, and really it's hardly a history if you think about it, then you know what a fast-changing period this was. Part of it was the speed of technological change. Can music really be downloaded onto phones? But part of it also was pure business. Will Verizon eat our lunch? Then, in 2012, Michael left entertainment to lead the digital transformation of The Guardian, one of the world's most innovative and respected news organizations. With his move to FLM in 2015, he's back to leading both entertainment and journalism. The country's first feature film, Spotlight, focused on the brave and tenacious work of Boston Globe reporters and won the 2016 Academy Award for Best Picture. Not a bad first effort. And as part of its nonprofit partnerships with the Democracy Fund and Press Freedom Defense Fund, FLM staunchly supports the First Amendment, freedom of the press, and the legal rights of journalists to do their jobs. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Michael Bloom, 1990 Department of Communication major and a Wildcat for life. Thank you, Michael.
So there's a picture that I have on my phone that I look at once in a while. And every time I do, I'm kind of blown away. Here it is, check it out. Right? You can tell which one's me? All right, so that's me. That's me on stage at the 2016 Academy Awards. My arm's around Tom McCarthy, the brilliant director who just won Best Picture for a movie that my company helped make called Spotlight. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely check it out. You can get it on demand now. On the other end is my boss, Pierre Omidyar, who created our company, First Look Media. He also founded eBay, a pretty incredible guy by any measure. So when I see that picture, and I think back to that moment, I always ask, how the hell did that happen? I never thought I'd be up there, but then again, I never thought I couldn't be either. So 27 years ago, when I was sitting right where you guys are now, on my graduation day, right here at McHale, where, by the way, I'm pretty sure we won every single home hoops game for the entire time I was here. Go Cats. Big shout out to Steve Kerr, Lute Olson. I had some vague plans, some pretty loose idea about moving to Los Angeles without a job or a place to live. But what I did have was a willingness to go into the world without having all the answers. without letting fear of the unknown, which we all have to some degree, hold me back. It's a simple choice, but a big one, to go forward with a feeling that you'll be able to navigate through whatever life throws at you. So that's the choice you're all looking at today. Distinguished faculty, guests and parents, welcome. And graduates, congratulations, you guys did it. You actually made it. And thank you, Dean Jones, for having me today. It's a real honor. Also, a special shout out to all the moms in the audience on this special Mother's Day weekend. There we go, house lights. Where are you, moms? And I'm thrilled that my mom is here today, along with my wife, Robin, mother to our 2 kids, Dylan and Chloe. You guys better be well behaved today. And my dad's here too. So with that, let me start with family. We're from Boston, but we moved to Richmond, Virginia when I was a kid. I was raised as a Yankee in the South, with all that comes with that. I didn't realize it at the time, but growing up there, I learned a lot about what it was like to be the other, to be a little different from the crowd. And that, it turns out, was a really useful perspective for me. For one thing, I saw that there was more than just one world out there. And unlike many of you guys, I was not a model student. I was into sports, motorcycles, but mainly I was into music. And as I approached the end of high school, I started a negotiation with my dad, she loves this story, where I wanted to take my rock band on the road. Right? Shockingly, he preferred college for me. Well, you know how that story ends. But for what it's worth, I think we would have been huge, Dad. Anyway, most of the kids in my high school had an idea in their minds of what college looked like. Ivy-covered walls, a big quad, old brick buildings, history everywhere you looked. And for a lot of them, this was the future, and they could see it. And there's definitely some comfort in that, feeling like you know what's coming, like there's a path. So most of my friends went off to East Coast schools, but I went west. I didn't know a soul here. I definitely didn't know where I was headed. And when I got here to U of A, it kind of felt like I landed on the moon. I had just never seen anything like the desert, and it was magical to me. You know, when I think back on that decision, really because in the bigger picture, it feels like a pattern. I look at it alongside a series of choices I made after that led me from Arizona to Los Angeles to San Francisco and then to New York. From internet startup companies to big companies, back to startups again, getting married, starting a family, to where I am today, here talking to you. And I look for the common denominator beyond the me of all of it. So leaving high school, I had a choice between something pretty known, that is college, close to home with my friends, and something truly unknown, Arizona, totally solo. I went for the unknown. And I feel like so much of life is just about the choices that we make. And there's some times in life when it's entirely possible that you can make all the right choices and still arrive at the wrong result. You can make a well-informed decision and then discover things, crucial things, that you didn't count on, that nobody predicted, that upend the whole deal. I'm not saying that pessimistically or to suggest that plans are pointless or small-minded. I make plans, we all do, obviously. But then things just happen. The unknown is just sitting out there waiting. You know, early on, nothing drove this home for me more than the sight of successful people failing. Smart, big-hearted people with real vision. Powerful people with big houses and cool cars that seemed to have it all. They'd built companies and inspired people. These were really successful people getting knocked down by life because things changed or something came out of left field or whatever. And this was surprising to me at the start. It was even kind of troubling. These people were the ones that had made the right choices, that landed in the right places, and had done all the right things. And they were impressive. They were often my role models and even sometimes my mentors. And even they weren't exempt from getting hit hard by life. But then I saw them do something else great, build some other thing and reinvent themselves. And that, it turns out, was what was really impressive, and it meant something to me, especially at that time in my life. Seeing that happen a few times, I realized that it's not that successful people don't get knocked down. They just always get up. Early on, I thought if you just made those right choices and avoided, the obvious potholes that we all see, that would make for a successful, happy life. So let me tell you a story. So a few years back, I was living in New York City with my wife and 2 young kids. We had moved there from San Francisco for what was my dream job. It was really exciting, great people, many of whom are still my closest friends today. So on this night, it's late, I'm sitting at the kitchen table with my wife, Robin, and it's quiet in the apartment, kids are asleep, and I say to her, so this thing I've been working on for the past couple years, that we moved across the country for, that's had so much promise and has been so cool and so exciting on so many days, well, it's not gonna work, it's done. I had a team of almost 100 people, we had a really good idea, made a great plan, we created something really special, but it's a big company with 1 million priorities, and it's an even bigger world, constantly changing. There's 100 reasons why this thing's not happening, it almost doesn't matter. I had made all the right choices and ended up with the wrong result. That was definitely not a great night. It was a long conversation with my wife. But even in that moment, at that kitchen table, with the kids sleeping in the next room, and my wife and I wondering what the hell we're gonna do next, I had a feeling, it was more like a belief, that this would somehow set me on another path, to some other place, and that I'd be better for it, even grateful. That unknown just sitting out there waiting. It's counterintuitive, maybe, but then I look at that picture again on my phone, and I think about the pattern, making sense out of things that might seem random. I also think about growing up, watching my brother, who I love dearly, struggle, and close friends and loved ones I've lost too early in life. What became clear is that life is incredibly fragile and fleeting. You've got to be fully present in each moment and grateful for any minute you have here. And once you reframe things this way, you realize that every day is a gift. This totally changes how you see the world, certainly did for me, and it changes what your priorities are. And then there's no roadmap. When you're growing up, we assume that the adults have it all figured out, that there are answers to all of life's big questions and some magic blueprint that we'll be fortunate enough to get someday. Turns out it's a myth. Steve Jobs had said something great that it's always stuck with me, which is this. Everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it, you can influence it. And I just love that idea, that there isn't some kind of fixed box that we all have to operate inside of, that you really can write your own rules and design the life that you guys want. So here's the deal, in my opinion, our time on this planet is short. There aren't really any rules or limitations, and no one really knows any more than you do sitting here today. So your job is simple. Figure out what you love, what really, really moves you, and pursue that relentlessly. Decide how you want to spend your days and the impact that you guys want to have. And make helping other people a priority. I believe that the effect you have on others is the most important thing there is. So you guys are coming out of school in 2017, and let's face it, you're entering a really complicated world. Like every graduating class, every group of young people, you get to choose what you believe in, and you can decide what your values are, and you can fight for those things. You can find other people who share those beliefs and be part of a larger community, sometimes even a movement. What's different, though, about today's world is that suddenly you can choose what the truth is, and you can surround yourself with others who share that same version of the truth. And this is creating a whole new reality unlike anything we've ever seen. And this isn't about your politics, to be clear, or the news. It's a bigger idea that affects us all. I'm lucky, incredibly lucky, to be at a purpose-driven place like First Look Media. My boss, Pierre, founded the company because he believes there's a need to look for the truth and tell a story, even if, especially if, it makes people uncomfortable, and especially if those people are in positions of power. We're built on the belief that a fearless, independent media is critical for a healthy democracy and a vibrant culture. From journalism that holds the powerful accountable and exposes injustices, to storytelling that can shape our world. And I actually brought some of our work here to show you guys today. Take a look.
We're going to tell this story. We're going to tell it right.
Can I please speak to Hillary Clinton?
This is an emergency.
To make it clear, we don't have a problem, you have a problem.
You have to ask the question then, what is America all about?
This is not normal for a democratic society.
Too well! I love to be rich.
Richard Simmons is so much more important than his goofball public personas.
We've got two stories here. Which story do you want us to write? Because we're writing one of them.
Thanks. Pretty cool. So we're telling stories that matter, that say something about the world that we all live in. So what will matter to your story? All right, so there's one last photo I want to show you guys before I split. Check this one out. Yep. It's that guy, the guy who lost the negotiation with his dad in high school. The motorcycle, the attitude, the awesome afro. And he's thinking that's probably enough to get started. Headed west, where there's less history, more future. The unknown just sitting out there waiting. But what was ahead of that guy is now ahead of you. And you get to choose what matters. You get to choose what you care about. As David Foster Wallace, one of our most visionary alumni, said, it's not really about the capacity to think, but rather the choice of what to think about. So as you guys say goodbye to our beloved university and begin your journey, think about this. What will you stand for, and what will your story be, and how will you make your mark? Just imagine the life you want and the world you want to live in. Now go make that happen. Thank you.